Of the Lake Bluff Village Board of Trustees. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Cole.
Here.
Trustee Fisher is currently absent. Trustee Freed.
Here.
Trustee Hatch.
Here.
Trustee Rappin.
Here.
Trustee Ryder.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please stand and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next on our agenda are our awards and proclamation, and first would be our presentations of awards for public service, and specifically the Elmer Vliet Community Service Award. And before we start, I would like to say that this award is not a popularity contest. It is not a voting contest. Rather, it is a recognition for the quiet, deliberate, and selfless act of building our community. I will paraphrase John Wooden when saying, the true test of a woman or man character is what she or he does when no one is watching. Tonight, we will recognize selfless service to community for watching over our shoulder with Bill Reddy, quietly advocating for our wooded areas with Dave Safarowski, and being a magnet for community with Lee Sagnoff. And I will do that as a community with Kathy O'Hara, past president, and David Graff, past president as well. The village. I will be specific. I will read the award as it stands in the agenda, and then we will proceed with listening to the people who nominated 3 candidates for tonight. The village strategic plan have consistently called upon the village to help residents understand, join in, and lead a wide array of local institutions, initiatives, and traditions that make Lake Bluff welcoming, attractive, and flourishing. The village has affirmed and honored volunteers in a variety of ways over the year, including picnics, community awards, and honorary resolutions and proclamations. To 1, complement the Phyllis Albrecht Award for Distinguished Community Services, and 2, recognize meritorious community service as nominated by a member of the Lake Bluff community. The village president and board of trustees created the Elmer Vliet Community Service Award in May of 2022. Consistent with last year's process, Village President Charlot met with former Village Presidents David Graff and Kathleen O'Hara to review and consider 11 nominations in the context of 4 criteria: impact on the community, the effect of a nominee service efforts and or project on the community, commitment to public service, example of enthusiasm, perseverance, and devotion to a short-term or long-term project, integrity, past or current actions that reflect the nominee's honesty, reliability, and sincerity, and leadership, example of leadership qualities that helped create momentum, a shared vision, and positive results. While all nominees were exceptional, 3 of the nominees were found to be closely aligned in the spirit of community above self, which Elmer Vliet embodied. To that end, Village President Charlot is pleased to announce, I am pleased to announce, I like to talk about me at the third person, normal stuff, is pleased to announce the winners of a Vliet Award for 2024. And that would be Bill Reddy. Bill makes his mark by keeping the greater Lake Bluff and Lake Forest community advised of important matters through his regular social media posts. With fewer local newspapers, Bill hyper-local reporting with over 2,000 members helps keep locals in the know regarding threatening weather, public safety activities, and much more. Number two, for the past 25 years, Dave Saflarski has been the volunteer site steward for the Oriole Grove Forest Preserve, where he has led and educated students, adults, and many others in the value of protecting and improving the biodiversity of this precious resource by building trails, eradicating invasive species, and removing rubbish through the 80-acre site. And last, Lee Sacknoff, as being posthumously recognized for being a builder of community. Well, he was known for his elaborate garden railroad display in his yards on Mountain Avenue, which he would load with the cars with seasonal items such as mini pumpkins, Easter eggs, light candles, or holiday ornaments, and for his charming little free library that stands in front of his home and begins with its lit interior and beveled glass door. Lee was also an advocate of elevating Lake Bluff quality of life by pushing village leaders to adopt restrictions on gas-powered leaf blowers. And my children grew up basically going to the lake every time passing by Lee's house. Could I please ask for the three people who advocated for this individual to step forward, please? And that would be, yes, Sandy, Maria. We do not have today Kelly and Bob.
Guess not. Yeah.
Well, Bill.
Yep.
I'm very
Thank you.
proud. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And it is my honor to give you this.
Thank you.
Sandy, would you like
I
to give us the
would,
honor?
unless Bill wanted to say a few words.
I'll say it. I just want to thank all the up to 2,500 members that have joined the page. It's made it very successful. I've been enjoying doing this thing for a long time. I've been listening to a police scanner for the longest time as well, back in the 1900s, as I call it, when you could listen to the paramedics and you could listen to the firemen and you could listen to the police, but now that's all encrypted except for the fire department. But it's enjoyable to do. Thank you.
Thank you so much. First, I want to thank the village for this opportunity to recognize Lake Bluffers who give back to our village in so many ways. Many people do so much, often behind the scenes, as President Charlot said, in a way that residents and visitors might not even be aware of, and Dave Saflarski is one of those people. Dave grew up on Maughman Avenue and has been dedicated to saving this 84-acre parcel, now called Oriole Grove, for close to 30 years. And for context, I was trying to explain this to somebody and then I finally measured it. For context, it's essentially from where we stand all the way to the lake, from North Avenue to Prospect. That is the size of this area of land that Dave has been working on. So for many years, Dave advocated for this land to be protected in perpetuity. And in the fall of 2019, his many years of hard work paid off when the property was completely transferred to the Lake County Forest Preserves, creating a critical ecological connection between Lake Bluff open lands and Lake Forest open lands. Dave is absolutely instrumental in helping us understand the intrinsic value of this space beyond just for people walking in the woods. Dave has quietly and consistently worked in Oriole Grove every season, in the heat of the summer and the freezing cold winter, removing buckthorn and other invasive species, mowing trails, removing trash and debris, taking down old farming fences, and importantly, working with Lake Forest High School students. Those students get volunteer hours by working in Oriole Grove. Dave leads teams of students on weekends throughout the school year, teaching them and their families about the importance of restoring land for future generations and giving them the chance to be a part of that effort right here in Lake Bluff. Dave has been a tireless volunteer for decades. We were actually just talking about years there. It was 27 years is what he had just calculated, never seeking out credit for his work. If you have not visited Oriole Grove in the last 9 months, I encourage you to check it out. Because of Dave's persistence and generosity and time and effort, Oriole Grove has truly been transformed. The beautiful Jensen Pond is now completely visible for the first time in maybe 50 years. Visitors can begin to get a taste of what this land looked like before, oak savannas, wetlands, and prairie, and of what it will become under his continued care. I'm very grateful to the selection committee for seeing the value that Dave brings to the village of Lake Bluff, even though Oriole Grove may be a hidden gem for many of us. I know Dave will continue to care and protect this land and will continue to be an important educator for all the students who are fortunate enough to work with and learn from him. Thank you, Dave, for everything you've done and continue to do, and congratulations on receiving the Elmer Vliet Community Service Award.
I want to thank the village for honoring me for my efforts out there. I really enjoy working out there. And, you know, my dad made the decision in '66 to come out to Lake Bluff. And I met a friend. We went to St. Mary's, and he lived on West Witchwood. And it was such a fun place to explore there when I was a kid. And then I remember one time we had a bag of McDonald's hamburgers, and it was just like a uncharted country out there. I just really, and so that's what attracted me, and it stuck with me. And I enjoy working with the students and really anyone. I really enjoy it's a fun thing to me, and it's meaningful. And the person in charge of the volunteers at Lake County Forest Preserves, her name's Kelly Schultz, and she came out there and said, you know what, this is the secret garden. And it truly is. It's a wonderful addition of Lake Bluff. I mean, we're blessed in this community to have open space like we do. And it's just a wonderful place, and I, again, appreciate this. Means very much to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you like to give a few words? Sure. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Maria McGuire. Regis already mentioned a few of the reasons that my husband Jeff and I decided we wanted to nominate Lee Sacknoff for this award. I got to spend some time, a good amount of time, with Cheryl recently by accident. And I learned a lot of things about why or how they intentionally chose to live here in Lake Bluff to raise their daughter. They've lived here 35 years. And I learned a little bit about how much he loved his railroad. He started in 2008 because he was an engineer and he wanted to share what he could do, but also because he wanted to share his little trains with everybody. And I know you all recall, as Regis said, that he liked to decorate for all of our pleasure and our children's pleasure. He did help with the gas blower initiative, and one of the most important things he did was to gather signatures for that initiative by erecting sign-up displays, a couple of which were in the village, and gathered the signatures to help us get that moving. Last couple of things, he was a talented carpenter, and many of us don't know how we have benefited from that. My favorite is that he built an outhouse for one of the Ghost Walk scenes last fall, and it was very impressive. And he also created some platforms to display some of our dogs on the bluff. He created the frame for the Lake Bluff street sign that's on the Hansa building. He also created those big pillars that were on Kathy McKechnie's yard last Halloween, and as the entrance to that very scary graveyard. I hope you all know about the Little Free Library. You couldn't miss it after you saw the trains. We hope that these physical reminders will lead you to think about him occasionally and how much he loved Lake Bluff and loved his family so much. Thank you.
I think Rachel is on and wants to say something.
Hi, Rachel.
Hi. Yeah, I don't have anything. I don't have anything prepared, but it just really means a lot to. Excuse me. It's just very meaningful. This tribute, my dad. My dad really loved Lake Bluff, and it gave him so much joy to see the enthusiasm of the families in this town sharing his excitement and joy with the trains. And he was always texting me and calling me to tell me adorable stories about the way the kids in the community would gather around the trains. And I'm just so proud of the work that he's done and his commitment to this town, and that he made the choice to raise me in such a lovely, kind, beautiful place with such an incredible community full of generosity and care. Lake Bluff means everything to me. It's made me the person I am, and it just means a lot to see my favorite person be recognized by my favorite town. So thank you.
That says it all, isn't it? Thank you all so much, so much. I'm so happy and proud to be part of this amazing community. It's just a blessing. Thank you.
So I would like to say that this is not only my work. It is, Kathy doesn't want to say a word, but, and Dave either, but this is the point is we love this community, and we have that responsibility to do good to this community and to recognize the people that are amazing in this community. And it's for me, it's why I live here, simply enough.
Thank you.
Thank you. You could not have better representatives. Thank you all for all that you do.
Thank you, Kathy.
Very good. Our work is done here.
Quietly.
Awesome.
Hi, good to see you.
Is Bill her brother? I think it is. And it's Barbour's sister. You know Barbour? She has. Good generation. Okay, so we use her.
Next on our agenda is a presentation by Jennifer Kuroda regarding the Bird City, Illinois designation.
That's cool.
Thank you for inviting me tonight. I have to say before I start that one of my favorite things about being part of Bird City, Illinois is being able to come to the communities and seeing all the great people that you have in your community. So I'm so glad that I got to see those awards, because that was wonderful. Modeled after the highly successful Bird City, Wisconsin, the Audubon Council of Illinois launched Bird City, Illinois beginning in 2022. The mission of Bird City, Illinois is to encourage all communities in Illinois to implement sound bird conservation practices by offering public recognition to those who succeed in enhancing the environment for birds and educating the public about the relationship between birds and people and how that contributes to a healthy community. If a community meets at least 9 criteria of the program, it becomes an official bird city. I'm excited to say that Lake Bluff exceeded that requirement. You met 30 of the criteria, which is very, very impressive. From your stormwater utility fee program to fully embracing no mow to ADA compliant public access at the Oriole Woods Preserve, which was mentioned earlier, to community solar subscriptions, and so many more criteria were met by your community. So it is a huge pleasure to be here tonight to present you with this award. I do have a plaque. I don't know who wants to accept. And I also have community signs for you. So these can be hung up in your community outside, wherever you'd like. If you want more, I can certainly get more of those signs for you. So I
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, that's cool. I love it.
That's
awesome.
Here you go. God bless you.
Get next to her.
I would like to say that we have a few people in this community that are absolutely completely dedicated to our birds.
I saw Dave.
Yes, but this is actually, there is a following this town for the birds, and going to find them and listening to them and teaching other people about birds, for example. But this is awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a cool sign. I like
That is a cool sign.
Yeah.
This is very cool.
Is this our first year being a Bird City? I don't know.
We just started 2022, so maybe this is the first year we're awarding it.
Do you have a bird?
We're gonna have to build the Village Hall Annex for the trophy room.
Yeah, up north or here?
Here. I was
They're
thinking
pretty
about moving it, but I get a lot of sparrows. The occasional bird.
Next would be a proclamation designating June 2024 LGBTQ, and I'm being corrected, this is LGBTQIA+, Pride Month. Whereas, the battle for dignity, equality, and personal safety for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and questioning people is reflected in the tireless commitment of the LGBTQIA+ community, as well as dedicated advocates and allies who strive to forge a more inclusive society. And whereas President Bill Clinton on June 2nd, 2000 declared June Gay and Lesbian Pride Month to commemorate the June 1969 Stonewall Uprising in Lower Manhattan. And on June 1st, 2009, President Barack Obama expanded the commemoration further by declaring June to be Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, and Transgender Pride Month. And whereas LGBTQIA+ Americans, including those who live in our local communities, face hate and discrimination simply for being who they are and who they love, and there remains much work to do to extend the promise of our country to every person. And whereas the landmark Supreme Court decision of 2015 guaranteeing marriage equality in all 50 states was a historic victory for LGBTQIA+ Americans, and continues to affirm our belief that we are all more free when we're treated as equal. Now therefore, be it resolved that I, Régis Charlot, Village President of the Village of Lake Bluff, Illinois, do hereby proclaim June 2024 LGBTQIA+ Pride Month in the Village of Lake Bluff and call upon the people of Lake Bluff to wholeheartedly recognize the importance of LGBTQIA+ to our village and nation, and the progress we have made in ensuring equal treatment for all people. Thank you. Next on our agenda would be item 4, that is the consideration of the minutes of the May 13, 2024 regular village board meeting. Is there a motion to approve the village board minutes on that day?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Are there any comments to these minutes? Steve?
No comments.
As a follow-up, regarding the Blair Park pickleball sound study, part 1 of the analysis at Blair Park is complete. And we have a follow-up with Artisan Park coming soon. We asked our consultant, Steve Fander, to reach out to the Park District consultant to start discussing alternative locations and findings. The Park District is putting the tennis court nets back up at Blair Park, where they had converted them to pickleball court as a status. Okay. Our point is finding a good location for these courts, and we are all supporting pickleball courts in this town. Thank you. Any more comments on the board? It is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And motion carries. Thank you very much. Next would be our non-agenda items and visitors. The village president and board of trustees allocate 15 minutes during this item for those individuals who would like the opportunity to address the village board of trustees on any matter not listed on the agenda. Each person addressing the village board of trustees is asked to limit their comments to a maximum of 5 minutes. And as such, could you please state your name and your address?
Thank you for the opportunity to address the board. I'm here tonight to represent the 6 residents of the 100 block of East Prospect Avenue, which runs from Evanston to the parking lot at Artesian Park. Hopefully you have had the opportunity to read the letter that we submitted to the village. If not, we'd appreciate it if you would. We have a couple of points in that letter that I'd just like to bring to your attention tonight, and we as a group ask that you consider our thoughts and perhaps take some action on our request. First of all, I want to be very clear that all of us on this street love where we live. What a blessing to be adjacent to such a wonderful park, and you don't live where we live if you don't like the sound of children at play. What we do have is concerns, and I will take the public safety or life safety concern first. We have a very short block. We have a parking lot at the end. We are surprised at the continuous speed that people are able to achieve from the intersection to the parking lot, and Lord knows where they're going when they leave. The speed on that one block is just, frankly, it's just dangerous. When one considers the foot traffic, the bicycle traffic, and scooters and so forth that pedestrians and the kids use to and from the park, it really is a potential that I think we should be paying a little bit more attention and seeing if we can find something to help preclude an accident there, okay? That one block is covered by the general rules of the village in residential areas, which would be 25 miles per hour. We're suggesting that the board takes the action to post at each end 15 miles per hour to get the attention of the drivers. I think if they see that, our thought is that they'll realize that this is truly serious speed. Matt and his folks will take good care of, you know, shooting the offenders or whatever they might do. But I realize that that should probably be studied. So we would ask that the village take whatever action they feel to evaluate that and seriously consider imposing a different speed limit on that portion of the street than is currently there. The second part that we would make is that, if you're not aware, there's actually 28 parking spots in that lot, okay? And over time, we've seen growth in the park. It's all been wonderful. That parking lot, however, is overtaxed even on a regular basis. This time of year in particular, when we have such wonderful baseball going on, we have a lot of activity on the courts. The playground is just, it's a wonderful place just to hear all the kids over there, what they enjoy. We have, it's one of the primary school routes, kids coming and going to junior high. And we have just general use of the parking lot. Not only is it when we see that, it's very apparent whenever there's a wonderful activity going on up here at the Village Green or one of our block parties. For example, Friday night when we had the most recent block party, that lot was full for that. What happens is overflow and people park down on the street, okay? As I would imagine you're familiar with our streets, it's very narrow. It does have a sidewalk on the south side, but the people, because of the narrowness of the street, actually put one wheel of their car onto the sidewalk itself. So what does that do? Well, potentially it might inconvenience us with blocking our driveways, or it makes it difficult to come and go to our house. Candidly, that goes with where we live. We're not asking to change that. We're asking to consider what the impact is of that on that particular block. It causes then the kids that are going to the baseball or whatever other activity to actually move up and down the street because the cars are parked on the sidewalk as such, so forth. So we have a double situation again occurring with safety in that block. What we're seeing also is we accept what's there now. What we're concerned about is the conversation we hear about potentially putting pickleball, into Artesian Park. With the density of 4-to-1 tennis players to that, any conversion of those tennis courts or addition to them, there is no way that we can comprehend that parking can accommodate that type of additional usage in the park, okay? And to enlarge the parking lot will only tear up green space, which again doesn't seem to make sense when we have such a jewel of a park over there, okay? I would just add personally, my family has lived in our house for 47 years. So we've had the opportunity to see transitions in Artesian Park. When we first came to live there, that was cinders. It was gravel. A lot has changed over time for the true benefit of our community. It's been wonderful. It's a great park. But the design intended and actual ongoing usage of the park really hasn't changed over those 47 years. From when we first moved there were 3 ballparks. There were 3 ballparks. There was a tennis court, which when my wife was a kid, that actually was a skating pond. So we're just saying, let's kind of keep a wonderful thing wonderful. And can we please give some attention or at least some study to the traffic regulations on that highway to try and improve the safety that we have. And thank you for listening to me. I hope you do read the letter and give it some consideration. We'll absolutely love to interchange with you on anything. Thank you. Any questions or anything?
Briefly, what's the current speed limit on that street?
I believe it's 25.
Thank you.
And cars, even in that short period, are able to exceed that.
Yeah.
Any more questions for David?
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And perhaps the administration or the staff could be directed to study the matter.
I did have a conversation with David when I saw after we received the letter and I shared it with you all. Typically, the first step is to collect data, and we put the traffic counters out there, and Matt and I have already spoken. That's the next place we're going to do it. We're concluding a study at the East Scranton and Maple intersection. We've moved the yield signs there, so we're still collecting some data there, but that'll be the next stop is East Prospect in that 100 block. We'll
Thank
follow-
you very much.
Yep.
Thank you, David. And I do not see anybody else who would like to address the board tonight. And I think we'll move on to item 6. The village board sets the order of a meeting.
If it's okay, maybe to check if anybody's online. There's a
Sure,
okay.
absolutely, I'm sorry.
If there's
Yes.
someone participating in the village's Zoom meeting and wants to make comments under the non-agenda items, please raise your hand. You'll be recognized at this time. No one.
Thank you. Moving on to item 6, the village president and board of trustees will entertain requests from anyone present on the order of business to be conducted during the village board meeting. And I don't believe we have any requests tonight. Moving forward with our village finance report, and especially item 7A for the warrants report for May 14 to June 10, 2024. And tonight we have requests for expenditure of village funds for payments of invoices in the amount of $175,427.32 for May 14 to May 27th, 2024, and expenditure of village funds for payment of invoices in the amount of $183,431.18 for May 28 to June 10, 2024, for total expenditures of $358,858.50. Comments on the board?
I had one question, Tina, about the payment to the Lake County Major Crimes Task Force. Is that a recurring payment, or was that just a one-time?
It's an annual payment, right? Annual.
Okay, is that for them helping out with stuff over the year?
Yes, it's essentially our insurance premium for the year.
Okay.
Yes, so that's one of our mutual aid teams, and then also with that is the corresponding insurance costs and everything that goes with that,
Oh,
that
okay.
group. So that's what you're saying that way.
Okay.
Yeah, but if we need them, they'll come when we make the payment, so.
Okay. That's
Yep.
good.
Thank you, Matt. Any more questions on the board, on the warrants and the ledger? I forgot to call for a motion to approve this report. Could I please have a motion on this item?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Any comments, additional comments? This is a roll call. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Fisher,
Aye.
Trustee Freed,
Aye.
Trustee Hatch,
Aye.
Trustee Rappin,
Aye.
Trustee Ryder,
Aye.
Trustee Cole.
Aye.
The motion carries. Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is our April 2024 finance report. Is there a motion to approve a finance report?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Mrs. O'Connell, do you mind giving us highlights?
Sure. FY '24 sales tax revenues on a cash basis are the highest to date, with an average annual increase of 5.81% since 2015, which is when the target development came on. Conversely, monthly sales tax revenue on a tax basis for April of '24 is $266,259, which is $24,640, or 8.5% less than the FY '23 cash basis receipts for the same period. General fund fiscal year '24 year-to-date revenues of $13,088,955, which is prior to year-end audit accruals, are $65,962 greater than the fiscal year '23 year-to-date revenues. So if you exclude the one-time ARPA revenues, the total would reflect an increase of $444,413, or 3.5% greater. Fiscal year '24 current expenditures are consistent with or less than budgeted for the total general fund, and the fiscal year-to-date expenditures of $12,998,575 are $529,375 greater than the expenditures for the same period in fiscal year '23, and that's primarily attributed to the additional increase to the capital fund transfers of $500,000.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Are there any questions to Bettina? It is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Thank you, Bettina.
Welcome.
Next would be our village administrator's report.
I just have a brief report. Actually, I'm going to turn it over to Jeff, but it's construction season. And I'm going to give you all an update of what's happening because it's super busy and it's going to get busier.
Yeah, everybody's favorite is construction season. Surely you've seen the road crews out working on sidewalks and curb and gutter as part of our street resurfacing program. Over here, Evanston and East Prospect, East Woodland on the east side, Armour Drive, Park and McLaren west of the Sheridan Road. They'll also be doing the police department parking lot. So they've been doing all the concrete work in preparation to do the asphalt work. The asphalt work should start next week and finish up right before the 4th of July. Two other things happening this week. The downtown beautification, the block 2, and then around, I don't know what we call the block, the east-north block of East Center Avenue. The plantings that were approved, I think in March, that contract's been awarded and they are supposed to start this Thursday, the 13th, and they will be there about 2 weeks. They're gonna do all the plantings. We ordered the street furniture, and the planter pots. The planters we think will be here before the 4th of July. The street furniture I think are gonna come in July. So that should be mostly complete by the time we get to the 4th. Also, this Thursday and Friday, the Glen Avenue Ped Bridge is supposed to be lifted. The new bridge is supposed to come Thursday. The crane will show up Thursday morning, set itself up. They have to build the boom for the crane on site. The bridge will come on 2 semis, probably Thursday afternoon. The crane will unload them onto the street at Glen and Sylvan. They have to assemble the bridge a bit, and then Friday morning, they're supposed to pick it and put it in place. So there's been some work last week, and then today, a little bit of tree removal to make way for the crane to come in. So that will be a big day. Following that, there still is a little more concrete to pour and some landscaping to happen, but having the bridge here is a big event for me anyway. Been waiting for that for a long time, trying to get that scheduled and figured out. Other work that'll happen over the summer, probably after the 4th of July, which is how I divide all of our projects. Just the miscellaneous patching for potholes and rough areas of streets. Our miscellaneous curb and sidewalk program. Some people thought that the street program was all the sidewalk we're going to do. I've gotten many emails from people about, what about me and my sidewalk? But that's coming. It's just a separate contract. The asphalt crack sealing and the sewer lining, those are all under contract and will be happening later this summer. Later, things that are not under contract yet that we're working on getting prices for and finishing the design. There is some path paving over on East Sheridan Road, and we're going to repave part of the Public Works lot that's in pretty rough shape. Looking to get the water tower painted. That's either going to be this fall or probably next spring, trying to get that scheduled. And there is a small project over on Birch Road where there's a culvert close to East Blodgett Avenue, and it's kind of washed out the slope. We're designing a fix for that. So that is the summer of construction. Any questions?
Any questions before? So I have a question for you. So I get residents looking at the streets and say, oh, can I have my street repatched? So fair. So I know that you have a waiting system. You put that in line. You actually have year after year you prioritize the streets to be paved or the sections of streets. So my question to you is, how can residents attract your attention to come and look at their streets, and how can you put that in a schedule? What is the process you like to follow?
Well, people, whether I like to follow it or not, people will email. The contact us form or me directly. I mean, we do get that quite a bit. And generally, by the time somebody asks, it's because they see the barrels out. It's too late to, I can't just add that street. We budgeted and planned. So there's always a waiting list that gets cut from the year before. And actually, you'd be amazed how you look at something this time of year or in the fall, and by next spring, a street that's not that bad may have just fallen apart over the winter, and some just kind of look the same year after year, just kind of not not quite ready for resurfacing. So I keep all those notes every year. A lot of times, like I've been getting questions, so we go to East North Avenue, which we've been kind of holding off on, trying to get the storm sewer down it. But if people have specific areas of concern, they're always welcome to email me or any
So
of the
your
village.
email is
and-
the best media for attracting
For phone
attention.
calls, email, I mean, there's a lot of different ways. The village's website has a way to report, potholes. I also talk with the public works staff about where have you guys been doing most of your pothole filling to try to get those areas, because sometimes street looks fine, but it's just because Jake's guys have just gone all the way down it and fixed it. So that's a good
We
way to tell
generally
the
have
story.
been following, I would say generally, we have been following the study that was done, and we've been in the roads that we've been focused on, we've taken care of the worst roads first,
Mhm.
and we're working from the bottom of the list up.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think, are we in the 30s yet, the ratings?
The low 30s, but the 30s aren't great.
Yeah.
The issue is, there's a whole 5 years' worth of streets that are rated almost identically. And that rating was done 2.5 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
So trying to watch which ones are kind of, aging out before the others and making that a priority list. And then, we do try to cross-reference, ones by schools, if there's things that need it a little more than others, and some other factors. But generally, it's never obviously enough money to pave all that needs to be paved.
But if somebody calls Jeff to find out, it's my street next, we can say, well, yours is actually a 60 rating or so. So it's going to be a while, but we can give them that context.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So no, that's really what I was asking for.
Yeah.
I think the important part is you are grading, you are not grading, but ordering the streets by need of redo. And you have your system, but I mean, if we can have residents pointing their head to say, okay, have you looked at my street, and getting that information, this is great. And that's all I was asking for.
And generally, I never promise anything because I don't know what the budget will be year to year, but people who do raise concerns, we put them on the list and make sure they get a good look the next year.
And it's fair.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any questions to Jeff?
The only other thing I would add to my report, certainly happy to answer any questions, but I wanted to congratulate Lauren Shermack, our intern, who this weekend walked at Northwestern, and she completed her master's in public policy administration. So. Yeah, congratulations. So.
Congratulations.
Yep. That's all I have. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Next would be our village attorney's report, and today this is Courtney. Courtney Willetts with us.
No report.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is the village president's report. And first would be the appointment of Ronald Gauvin to the Police Pension Board of Trustees. So subject to the consent of the Board of Trustees, the village president appoints members to the village's various advisory boards and commissions. President Charlot, me, hereby recommends the appointment of Ronald Gauvin to fill the final vacancy on the Police Pension Board of Trustees. Are there any comments on the board?
So you're just looking for the motion.
Could I please ask for a motion to consent to the appointment?
So moved?
Second.
Thank you. It's a voice vote?
Yes.
It's a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, and the motion carries. Thank you very much. I would like to add one thing to my report, and I believe that, I think we talked about it, I'm not sure we quite talked about it, and that would be that our community was added to the community project funding submission to the House Appropriation Committee. And so I'm pleased to report that Congressman Brad Schneider nominated Lake Bluff to be one of 15 local priority projects for community project funding within the fiscal year 2025 appropriation process. And so I quote, "These projects are meant to create jobs, repair aging infrastructure, improve public safety, and protect our environment. In total, these requests would bring more than $55 million to our to all the 15 communities if each was fully funded. Our project is here in town is the Lake Bluff Downtown Flood Mitigation Project for requested amount of $13 million. Federal funding for this Lake Bluff project would go toward the planning and construction of flood mitigation investments in the downtown community. Funds would go toward the purchase of a new upsized storm sewer and realign the storm sewer north along Sheridan Road and east within the North Avenue right-of-way toward Lake Michigan. We all know this project, of course. But this is actually the declaration of what would be advertised in for the House for Congress. Of course, we do not expect these 13 millions to be allocated. Okay, the last time we went for 13 million, we got $750,000. If we were to have those 13 million with what we hope with IDOT, we would have funded 2/3 of the $50 million we were looking for. So it's a big deal. So let's hope for the best. A decision should be made in October 2024 at the earliest, and or as far as March 2025. Okay.
I just want to acknowledge and thank you, Regis, for pursuing and leading the charge in our community's infrastructure, and not just talking about it, but really doing the hard work and networking and talking to our state and statewide and local legislators to make sure that this project happens. It means a lot to the community, and I'm grateful for your leadership.
Thank you. It means a lot of coffee, by the way. I'm not adverse to coffee. Thank you. Moving forward. Next is item 11, the acceptance of a correspondence. Please note that all correspondence was delivered to the Village Board of Trustees in the informational report on May 10, 17, 24th, and 31st, 2024. Is there a motion to accept the correspondence?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion about the correspondence? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Voice vote.
Voice vote. It is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Next would be item 12, an ordinance granting a special use permit to Andriy. I hope I will say that name correctly. Zami Shliayev. And I'm sorry for mispronouncing that.
I think that was right, actually.
I did not say Oriole correctly tonight, and I'm really sorry about that. So Andriy, van repair expert, to operate an automobile repair facility in the village, L1 Light Industry Zoning District at 417 West Washington Avenue. Is there a motion to approve this ordinance?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. On April 1st, 2024, Mr. Andriy Zamishlev of Van Repair Expert, Inc. requested a special use permit to allow the establishment and operation of an automotive repair facility at 417 West Washington Avenue. His property previously received approvals for an automobile body shop repair facility in 1995 and a motorcycle service and repair facility in 2017. No interior changes to the building are proposed. Per the applicant, services will include mechanical and body repairs to vehicles, primarily commercial vans and light-duty trucks or box trucks, as well as customization of such vehicles for wraps, interior changes, and so on. On May 15, 2024, the PCZBA held a public hearing and voted unanimously 7-0 to forward a favorable recommendation to the village board. The PCZBA also recommended the applicant request first and second reading approval of the ordinance at the June 10 meetings, as there was not a second village board meeting scheduled in May. The applicant plans to attend village board meeting via Zoom and has requested approval of both first and second reading tonight. Do we have Mr. Zami Shliayev tonight with us?
I believe so, yes.
And
He's been elevated to a panelist.
And I do,
Yes.
and I do sincerely apologize for butchering your last name.
That was actually perfect.
Thank you. Please go ahead if you want to address the board.
Thank you for having me again. I've been there on May 15. So as I said, we as a auto repair facility want to operate at the same property that was already used for such for such usage. It has been approved, and it worked for many years, and we would like to extend that gratitude to us, if that of course is possible. So I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have, or respond to any concerns.
Thank you. Are there any questions on the board for Andrew?
No.
I do not see any questions. And if such, this is a...
First reading, so it's a voice vote.
It's a voice vote. It is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And I know that we have a...
Request for a waiver of second reading.
So that would be a motion, correct?
Be a motion and a second to such, and then it would be, yep, then it would be a roll call vote.
So could I please have a motion to waive second reading and...
So moved.
Second.
So it is a roll call. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Fried.
Aye.
Trustee Hatch.
Aye.
Trustee Rappin.
Aye.
Trustee Ryder.
Aye.
Trustee Cole.
Aye.
Trustee Fisher.
Aye.
Motion carries.
The motion carries. Andre, welcome to our community. If you're new to this community, welcome to your new business in our community, and I wish you a lot of good luck to your new business here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Awesome. Next would be item 13, a resolution authorizing the purchase of a replacement water department truck and declaring a 2009 Ford F-250 as surplus. Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Second, thank you. With over 100,000 miles and no longer under warranty, the Village 2009 Ford F-250 water department truck is planned for replacement this fiscal year. The vehicle and equipment replacement fund includes $65,000 for this replacement, utilizing the State Central Management Services Joint Procurement Contract number 21-416-P-29479 in accordance with Village purchasing policy. The Village will be able to purchase a replacement truck, which is available for delivery by September 2024, after upfitting is complete, at a total price of $65,368. With a trade-in of the current vehicle, making up the $368 difference, the replacement truck will be well within budget. If approved, the attached resolution will authorize the purchase of the water department truck from Morrow Brothers Ford, Inc. of Greenfield, Illinois, and disposal of the old water department truck. Are there any questions on the board to Jake? Or if Jake wants to say a word?
Nope.
Nope.
Jake, did you negotiate that $368? Yeah?
That's a tough one, right?
Okay, so I do not see any questions. You're lucky, Jake. So it is roll call. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Hatch.
Aye.
Trustee Rappin.
Aye.
Trustee Ryder.
Aye.
Trustee Cole.
Aye.
Trustee Fisher.
Aye.
Trustee Fried.
Aye.
The motion carries.
Thank you very much. Jake, thank you. New toy. Next is item 14, a resolution authorizing the 2023 strategic plan be maintained for the village of Lake Bluff through May 2026. Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Despite the enormous economic, community health, and education impact of the COVID pandemic, the village made great progress toward achieving its vision for 2023 over the past 7 years. When drafted by the community, it was believed that the 2023 strategic plan might have the durability to last beyond 2023, and a check-in at the end would be appropriate to gauge how much longer the plan could serve the greater Lake Bluff community. As you will recall, the village board reviewed all aspects of the plan and evaluated a staff-generated progress report at its April 8, 2024 and May 13, 2024 Committee of the Whole meetings. Following these discussions, the village board determined that many of the 2023 strategic plan goals and actions are both universally and continually relevant, and that there is value in keeping the 2023 strategic plan in place for the next 2 years to continue, 1, to frame and assess policy choices, 2, to achieve efficient resource utilization, and 3, to catalyze strategic action. Should the attached resolution be approved, staff will continue to provide periodic progress updates on plan attainment internally and externally. Question on the board. I believe the questions were asked during the committee of the whole, and we're all satisfied with the progress and where we stand. And I believe that the plan has a lot of merit to it that probably will not stop after 2025 in this case. So I believe that we are making good progress despite the last 3 years of pandemic, who really were challenging to the village. And I think we did well during that time.
Voice vote.
Voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And the motion carries. Thank you very much. Next would be item 15, a resolution approving a first amendment to the intergovernmental agreement by and between the Village of Lake Bluff and the Lake County Stormwater Management Commission for stormwater management improvements to the West Scranton Avenue Viaduct and drainage system. Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Seconded.
Thank you. To reduce the frequency and duration of flooding in the West Scranton Viaduct area, the village identified certain improvements as part of a village-wide stormwater modeling and planning study. As you're aware, the village has actively sought financial partners to fund further study, design, and the construction of improvements for the past few years. Fortunately, the Lake County Stormwater Management Commission has agreed to be the lead agency and take on Phase 1 engineering for the proposed drainage improvements to the Scranton Avenue Viaduct in a manner so as to be eligible for other potential federal funding opportunities. To that end, the village and SMC, the Storm Management Commission, entered into an agreement on May 2nd, 2022 regarding cost sharing for the deep tunnel project design work. Pursuant to the agreement, the SMC engaged Christopher Burke Engineering to prepare Phase 1 engineering up to preliminary engineering plans, 30%, with a cost estimate. This work was substantially completed in September 2023. On January 11, 2024, the SMC determined that finalizing the design for the deep tunnel project was time critical and authorized an amendment to their contract with Christopher Burke Engineering and increased the contract value by $377,780 to a total of $875,098. For this increased project scope, the village will need to reimburse SMC for 16% of the design costs, which results in the maximum contribution going from $79,570.88 to $140,016 based on the completion of phase 2 work and amend the agreement to reflect these changes. The attached first amendment to the intergovernmental agreement, if I can say that word, which the SMC approved on April 7, 2022, spells out the expanded scope of work, both phase 1 and 2, that Christopher Burke will complete, which total an estimated $875,098, and continued cost participation by the village at 16% to cover the SMC administrative expenses, now capped at $140,016, reflecting phase 2 costs. The village recently approved fiscal year 24 and fiscal year 25 budget include funds for this design work. The village engineer will be in attendance tonight and recommend the village board approve the intergovernmental agreement.
I just want to clarify that there was a typo. It was actually April 7th, 2024 that the SMC approved this agreement.
Okay.
And the reason it took so long to come to us is that we had been in conversations with the SMC waiting for another intergovernmental agreement, which you will see 2 weeks from tonight. That's the phase 3 agreement that they have been waiting and working with the State Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, or DECIO, to work out all the terms that they'll be held to. But ultimately, the phase 3 work for this project, should the revenue continue to flow from the SMC, will go through an DECIO agreement. And so that they wanted to give us a pre-IGA agreement, which I don't think I've ever done, a pre-IGA agreement. But anyway, that's coming 2 weeks from tonight, and that's going to cover phase 3, where the village will actually, under those circumstances, SMC will give us money, and we will actually engage whomever to do the construction. That the program will change because it'll be different monies. But anyway, that's a heads up. That'll be here 2 weeks.
So, Drew, I'm sorry, I didn't ask this earlier, but so the SMC, it says the SMC determined that finalizing the design was time critical, and as a result of the time criticalness, there's an increase in cost of about $60,000. And so what was the, do you have a sense of what the time critical element was there?
Sure, it's the idea that federal dollars are still being passed through to the state, and that the idea that there could be more money coming the way to the village.
Yeah.
And so they wanted to accelerate the design to get it to the point to where it was shovel ready.
Okay.
And so that if dollars show up, that we can start building it. And so that they wanted to get all that done before the end of this calendar year.
Got it. So this $60,000 incremental expenditure creates significantly greater odds of us ultimately getting the funding.
Absolutely.
SMC has been a partner, an incredible partner to this community, for funding us the money, for coming to help us at critical time, for helping us lead this project. And I'm grateful to them, because we're getting to, with their leadership, we're getting that project to move forward and find money that otherwise we would not find.
And it's not that we're wishing poorly of our other governmental agencies, but the idea is if they're not ready and we are, we're going to get the money. And so that's what we're trying, that's the position we want to be in.
Yep. And so that's what we're doing.
Great.
Any questions?
Yep.
No. It is a roll call. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Rappin.
Aye.
Trustee Ryder.
Aye.
Trustee Cole.
Aye.
Trustee Fisher.
Aye.
Trustee Freed.
Aye.
Trustee Hatch.
Aye.
The motion carries.
Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is our trustees' report. Do any trustee wish to make a report tonight?
I do.
Awesome.
I wanted to expand on what this evening's proclamation already recognized, as it's Pride Month. And I'm grateful that
that you made the proclamation tonight, Mr. President, and I'm glad that we have a board here that has no issue with celebrating Pride, and it's reflected in our community. A year ago, this dais had a discussion about a flag policy, and it was an extensive discussion. And it was a healthy governmental discussion of weighing out the cost-benefit analysis of what it would mean to celebrate Pride with a visual representation. And I want to remind us of how important representation is, and why I feel like we are letting down our community members who do identify as part of the LGBTQ+ community. Representation, especially a flag or otherwise, reminds our community that we as leaders are willing to do more than just use our words to proclaim that we celebrate Pride. Regis, in your proclamation, you're calling upon the people of Lake Bluff to wholeheartedly recognize the importance of LGBTQ to our village and the nation, and the progress we've made in ensuring equal treatment for all people. We've made progress as a nation, and Illinois is in the forefront of the states in equity and celebration. But progress means continued efforts, and it also means taking bold steps to celebrate. So when we talk about representation, if we had a flag and if we took steps to, again, circle back to what we could do to have a meaningful flag policy, and I think we dropped the ball. We had a good discussion, we had a plan, and then we didn't follow up on it. We talked about the concern that it would open the door for discord and perhaps disruptive hate groups wanting equal treatment. We are better than avoiding scary, controversial issues. But most importantly, Pride should not be considered controversial. It is, if anything, we should be having a flag policy because it normalizes what should not be a controversial issue. So I'll hold my breath and I will not go on, but I do want this board to know that I think we failed and that I intend to be starting today so that by next year we have a flag policy in place.
Thank you. Any comment or any follow-up to Terrence's comments?
I'll just respond very briefly. Thank you, Taryn, for raising that point of view. I was perhaps one of the most vocal in the Parade of Horribles kind of argument, and I continue to feel that same way. I don't think it's a lack of courage. I think it's the exercise of discretion to not move down the road we've chosen not to take, to move down. I thought the draft that we reviewed was incomplete in as much as it recognized the one group that had asked for the issue, asked for the flag, or the one few residents who had asked for the flag, and there were many comparable flags that ought to be recognized in that same document. So I, for one, believed that tabling it was the better course. So I certainly thought about it over the course of the last year, but disagree that we ought to have posted one this year.
I think the intent is right. I think it's a matter of, it is exactly what we celebrated for a village award. That is, it's a matter of all being part of a community. There's a fair amount of people that are afraid to say who they are in this community. including people in my family. And it's a matter of also doing right to the community as large. It's a message of love. It's a message of acceptance, okay? Unfortunately, as we bring that message up, there is a danger that people will take advantage of that and bring a message of hatred. And this is not okay. And so to Terrence's point, yes, we need to stick to that, and I think I failed not bringing that far enough, or working. I see it as working out technical issues, okay? It's not a message of we do not like people. It's a message of how can we do that correctly, bring people together. That's all I care for. And it doesn't stop with LGBTQIA+, okay? It's everybody. And to you, Suzanne, yep, there's a technical issue and I don't know how to resolve it. I'm not a lawyer. Unfortunately, I'm surrounded by all my best friends here. But the point is, we need to do that right. Okay? And communities around us have done that right. If you look at Highwood, there's 300 flags in the street, okay? So there is a way to do that correctly. So I'm really looking for leadership and doing that correctly and bringing it together. I mean, Grace and Union Church have this flag on their sign, for example. Okay, so I really ask for leadership on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any more comments? And so, seeing no other trustees' comments or any more trustees' reports, moving on to item 17, the consideration of a May 13, 2024 executive session meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any questions, discussions, or concerns on the minutes? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Ryder.
Aye.
Trustee Cole.
Aye.
Trustee Fisher.
Aye.
Trustee Freed.
Aye.
Trustee Hatch. Trustee Rappin.
Aye.
The motion carries.
Thank you very much. I believe we do not have an executive session tonight.
Correct.
And as such, I would welcome a motion to adjourn tonight.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And we're
I'm opposed.